Let's move on to Rahul's question. He says he's based out of Bangalore, currently living in South Bangalore, off the Bannerghatta Road in a 2 BHK apartment built on 1,250 square feet area by Mahaveer. He has a small 3-member family, wife, daughter and himself. He's looked at several properties, some of which are soon getting completed, some which have recently handed over possession, and he doesn't have a set budget, but would not want the price to go beyond 1.2 crore as 20 to 25% upfront payment will be too high. Accordingly, he shortlisted 2 properties like Shobha Avenues, Vaswani Exquisite, Brigade Lakefront, Prestige Lakeside Habitat. He wants to know which is the best project to buy into. What would you recommend?
Well, I mean, first of all, he's clearly very brand conscious, which is great, which is not a problem. So, Shobha, Vaswani, Brigade,
and you know what, Amit, I hate to interrupt you here, but he's also very, he's planned it out very well. He's very clear that this is his budget because 20 to 25% has to come out of his pocket.
Absolutely.
And that is something that a lot of home buyers often lose sight of. They take the bank home loan eligibility as their budget and, you know, go out to buy a home.
Well, you know, I mean, one of the things about Bangalore, Kavita, is that the upfront payments are not necessarily that high. I mean, yes, you eventually need to put out about 20% of the purchase price. But today, mostly schemes are running on 595 type of schemes, which means only 5% needs to be paid upfront. Fortunately, Bangalore doesn't have the burden of paying stamp duty, etc. upfront. It's only upon possession, which is really the back-ended piece where your EMIs will start kicking in post-possession. So I think that advantage clearly is there because most subvention schemes are available on most of the projects that we have talked about. Clearly, because of the brands that they've selected, I think the price point is slightly above market. And of course, this is Whitefield. So if you're talking about 5,000 to 7,000 rupees a square foot, I would tend to stay more on the 5,000 rupee price range because again, Whitefield is a very price sensitive market. So your entire selection of these 4 projects is in the Whitefield location alone. And Whitefield has always been a very price sensitive location. So, you know, in the 2009-10 era, it barely moved between 3,500 to 3,700 rupees. Every 100, 200 rupee makes a big difference in Whitefield. So I would be very price sensitive about going into Whitefield and looking at the more expensive projects that you've chosen, which are more in the 6,000 rupee, 5,500, 6,000 rupee category rather than the sub 5,000 or 5,000 rupee category. I think as you can see, the prices are sub 5,000 clearly as an average in Whitefield. So I think one would be better being price sensitive.
Right, but tell me this, and considering this is Whitefield you are speaking about, which has a huge IT catchment.
Sure.
And a lot of people looking for rentals. And I'm not very clear over here whether Rahul is looking at investment, whether he's looking to, you know, move into the house. But I'm assuming he's looking at investment because he says he already has a home. In which case, does it make sense to go with a brand because that then guarantees you a better rental?
Well, yes, it does in terms of the rentability, not necessarily in terms of yield, because a good brand, a good development tends to get better or larger number of suitors for lease rather than the lease rent itself. Because as I mentioned, Whitefield is a very price sensitive market. And therefore, I think it's more about the ticket size, it's more about the rent, the outgo, because again, it's a lot of mid-collar workers working in Whitefield, not necessarily the top-end jobs which are actually coming out of Whitefield. So again, you got to be slightly careful in terms of maintain. The other option, if you want to get more price sensitive, is actually look at Electronic City, which is not very far away. And Electronic City offers a better bang for the buck. You know, it's, you know, a few kilometers literally from Whitefield, and again, yes, I mean, given Bangalore traffic, it'll take you a lot longer to travel between the 2 points, but it is far more affordable. I mean, today in Electronic City, you can get under construction at 4,000, ready at 4,500, thereabouts, with good brands as well. So I would also exert to look beyond your current choice and even look at a couple of options within Electronic City, if not necessarily in phase 2 or phase 3, even within phase 1 or phase 2. So again, there are good number of projects which are ready or under construction. We've got projects that I've looked at which are ready to move in at 4,500 rupees at Electronic City. A good 2 BHK, 3 BHK will A, fit into your budget, and B, of course, because it's a well-priced unit, the chances of somebody being able to pay 15,000 to 20,000 rupees rental is also pretty high, as opposed to paying 35-40,000. Every 5,000 rupee rental makes a big difference in that entire electronic city Whitefield market. So I would continue to say, don't get carried by brands. It's good to have a good development and purchase one, but I think be price conscious.
Right. So, Rahul, we are working on the assumption here that you are looking to invest, and if it's investment you're after, then you also would want a good rental yield. In which case, like Amit pointed out, a couple of things that you need to keep in mind, apart from the fact that you are obviously looking to buy something that is ready position or soon to be delivered. The other important thing is, of course, buy something which is in the 4,000 to 5,000 rupees per square foot bracket, which means you will need to relook at your choices that you have listed out in Whitefield. Do not necessarily have to go with the brands over there. The other thing, other option that he pointed out, Electronic City Phase 1 or Phase 2, also priced at around the same 4,160 rupees per square foot, as you can see on your screen over there. Phase 2 at 3,460 rupees per square foot, which also means that if your house comes in at a lower price, the rental yield could be that much more higher. So that is something that you need to consider when you are investing in the Bangalore market. Do remember, very, very price sensitive market, especially as far as rentals go, because there is a huge rental demand and plus an equivalently decent amount of rental supply as well.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/magicbricksnow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at magicbricksnow. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/magicbricksnow.